Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing one of the most memorable and horologically significant Breitling watches of modern times. A watch that equally channels Breitling's modern reputation as the watch of choice for aviators and armchair aviators alike, as well as its grand mid-century history, providing actual instrumentation to those who climb into the flight deck. This is the Breitling Navitimer Cosmonaut. Now, it is a 1995 one-year run featuring the Lamagna 1873, and if that base caliber sounds familiar, it might be because it's the same beating heart you find in the Omega Moonwatch. You can see and you can purchase this 24-hour Lamagna-powered manual wind Navitimer Cosmonaut chronograph on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Breitling Navitimer Cosmonaut. Now, resurrection of the Cosmonaut reference and the manual wind Lamagna-powered Cosmonaut took place early in the Snyder regime at Breitling after moving the company from La Chaux-de-Fonds in the late 1970s during its collapse to the canton of Solothurn and the city of Grenchen during the early 1980s. The Snyder family, which ran the company right up until the beginning of 2017, initially placed its bets on quartz pilot's watches, but there was room left in the catalog to reminisce about the golden era of the company. As it was getting back on its feet, it was appropriate to bring back both the Navitimer with its circular slide rule bezel and chronograph in a mechanical caliber and its 24-hour Cosmonaut counterpart. That's the watch you see here. 10 years later, this timepiece debuted a combination of 18-karat yellow gold and steel. It's one of the few Breitlings you'll see that has a display caseback. Now, the watch also features very wearable dimensions at 41.7 millimeters across the round of the case. It's not excessively thick because of the manual winding caliber, 13.3 millimeters thick. You can see it's also 47.9 from lug to lug, so it's a reasonable span across the wrist even if you don't have a tree trunk forearm, and I certainly don't. The watch is proportionally excellent. Let me see if I can do a direct overhead shot. You see there is no lug overlap. A good watch that you could wear on almost any occasion, whether you're actually flying, casual, or strutting your stuff in black tie. This is an all-arounder, but it has a number of period features that really set it apart. Let's talk briefly about the strap, which is decidedly a modern Breitling factory strap, large with thick shear-cut sides, a contrasting stitch. Uncharacteristically for an aviator strap, this is black rectangular scale alligator leather, a bit more expensive and a bit more durable than the traditional aviator's calfskin. It has a simple Breitling stainless steel pin buckle for easy adjustment on the fly. The case, as you can see, is fully intact. The bevels are still sharp. The lugs are still well defined. All of the metal on the knurling of the bezel, crisp, clear, and sharp. The watch features a number of elements that place it as a mid-1990s Breitling. Perhaps the greatest is the tritium composition of the dial luminescence. That's not simulated patina. That's the real thing. This is what happens to tritium after 23 years. Now you see it's got a gorgeous golden tone that unintentionally over time came to perfectly match the yellow gold of the bezel and the yellow gold of the hands at center, as well as the Breitling wing logo at 12. Now, from 1962, Scott Carpenter putting out the call to Breitling to create a aerospace-worthy, flyable chronograph, specifically for those in the NASA space program. The Cosmonaut has always been the slightly lesser-known, more professionally oriented counterpart of the Navitimer. With a 24-hour dial, it actually features hands moving at half speed, which is to say the hour hand makes one full circuit of the dial every day, every 24-hour cycle. Now, the watch features, see if I've wound it up. It doesn't look like I have. The watch features a very, very pleasurable winding action. I have to say that all things considered, it's crisp, it's audible, it's a tactile pleasure. It feels a little bit more robust in its action, both winding and chronograph, than the usual Omega Moonwatch, and I'm not sure why that is, because technically it should be the same basic caliber, but this is almost like owning a little pocket watch in the way that it winds and the crispness of the pushers, and that in spite of the fact that the Breitling Caliber 12, as they call it, is very much a cam-operated chronograph. You can count perhaps on two hands, maybe one, the number of display Caseback Breitlings built during the mid-90s. It was uncommon at the time. If they did perhaps offer little in terms of automatic caliber viewports, you wouldn't miss it on a 2824, a 2892, or a 7750. But for Lemania 1873 doing business as the Breitling caliber 12, I feel that it's most apropos. Nicely finished. The one hiccup, I would say, is that unlike Omega, which realized on its caliber 1863 that you didn't want the Delrin chronograph break visible, other than that one aesthetic hiccup, I think it's well worth your while to turn this one over and admire, of course, Omega on the caliber 1863 using a metal component in place. Functionally, it's the same. It's just funny to see Breitling perhaps finding their feet with a caliber that they were far less familiar with than, say, Omega. Now, the watch is handsome. It has real patina. It's perfectly sized and proportioned. It has a wonderful history. It even has the circular slide rule bezel, which you can, of course, use to calculate via multiplication or division virtually anything you want, as long as you mentally keep track of the units. Now, I should also mention that the caliber is 21,600 vibrations per hour, water resistant to 30 meters, and has a 42-hour power reserve when manual wound to extremity. This is an all-arounder. I would buy this watch for formal, casual, even vintage occasions. When you want to go to a red bar and show a vintage watch, at 23 years old, this one is getting up there. A timepiece that even the vintage snob can embrace. This is a modern Breitling for the ages, and if George Kern is watching, I hope he's taking note. See it and find out why on our website.